I'm Marya. I'm the Young Writers Program Director at NaNoWriMo. I am here because we are doing some Camp NaNoWriMo chats around the fire to meet everyone who's doing camp and learn a little bit about their projects and some tips on their writing routines. Camp NaNoWriMo is your chance to do a version of NaNoWriMo that happens in April and July. The NaNoWriMo in November with the 50,000 words in 1 month and a novel. It's really intense. For me, it stresses me out a little bit. Anyway, you can track goals around hours and pages and words, and you set your own goal, and you can work on any project that you want to work on. So it doesn't have to just be a novel, it can be any. I have a weird writing routine. It's very specific. I read in a book that the more distinct you can make your writing time, the more creative you'll be. So what I do is when I'm ready to write, I light a candle, I put it in the window, I turn off the overhead lights in my bedroom, and I turn on the lamp light. Then I grab this blanket, this nice wool blanket that I use only when I'm writing, and I put it over myself. I told you this was weird. And I put my headphones in and I listen to classical music for at least 5 minutes. I don't think about what I'm writing, I don't think about what I wrote before, I just try to make my head a total blank. Then I open my eyes and I'm either planning stuff out in my notebook, or if I'm on my computer, I invert the computer screen so that the background is black and the text is yellow, which is also something I only do when I'm writing fiction to really like trick my brain into thinking like, okay, now you're really in your creative space. I am working on short stories. I really like novels, but I've been on kind of a short story kick, and so I think I'm going to continue that over camp. I'm in no way a short story writing expert, but here's some things that I try to do when I'm writing short stories. So one, reading other people's short stories, so either in magazines or I have some books of short stories. I find one that I love and I try to think, what are 2 or 3 things about it that really stuck with me? Like the main character had a really strong, snarky, mean voice, and something surprising happened at the end. So I take those 2 things and I set out and I say, okay, in my next story that I'm starting, I'm going to write a character with a snarky, mean first-person voice, and something surprising is going to happen at the end. And that kind of helps me also to be purposeful about trying new things. So when you write a novel, you're kind of stuck with that same tone, that same character, that same like theme throughout the whole month. But with short stories, I try to write about 1 a week, and I try to make them as different as I can. So I get to try out very different things in very different lengths, and I think that helps me get experience in different ways. My other tip is don't revise at all. So the instinct some people I have is to write a short story, finish it, go back and revise it immediately. But you're not ready for that yet, because by the time you've written a bunch of other stories, you can go back and look at that first story with kind of fresh eyes. It's not as precious to you in that moment, so you can really get some good revisions in. My last piece of advice, and I think this actually also works for novels, is that one short story can't be all things at all times. So pick a couple of the things that originally made you love the idea and stick with those. When you have these other ideas like, oh, I also want mine to have that kind of magic in it, and I also want mine to be funny, and I also want mine to go like this, save that idea for a different short story that you can write the next week. One short story can't be all things at all times. Okay, those are my tips.
Were stuck in the woods and you only could use one thing from this backpack to escape, how would you use it?
Oh my gosh. Alright. My one survival item is... Oh. Okay, I got some neon duct tape. This is almost too easy. I'm stranded in the wilderness. The first thing I do, I use this to make a kind of harness and climb up the tallest tree that I can find. And then I use more of it to spell out help, maybe on the top of the trees. And then if I have any left, I can maybe like make some elbow pads and some knee pads so that when I'm like running through the woods, escaping from bears, and I'm inevitably like falling down, at least I'm not skinning my elbows because I've got my safety gear. Safety first.